I'm Mike Tolliver. Hot News loves Los Angeles, and we traveled out in February for meetings of various ICOC leaders from around the world. LA is a vast, beautiful city with roughly 17 million inhabitants. It is the hub of the entertainment industry, and we loved our short little tour of Universal Studios. But mostly we loved all the good news we were hearing about our churches around the world. For starters, the evangelist, elders, and teachers committees met to strategize and plan. These committees, formed by our cooperation plan, have been getting things done. For instance, the teachers have been busy setting up academic training for ministers around the world, and literally hundreds of staff people on several continents are now participating.
We've been working on a curriculum that will be a unified curriculum that will standardize our program across our churches. Currently we have around 20 of these ministry training programs that exist around the world, in Latin America, in Africa, in Europe.
Last year, with the courses that we were offered, more than 200 disciples were graduated from more than 25 churches in all Latin America.
The Evangelist Committee has been working hard on mission support for churches, ministry training, and 2020 vision plans from our churches worldwide. We asked Los Angeles evangelist Bruce Williams how it was going.
The unity and teamwork that we have experienced here in the last several days has been fantastic. We have not only gotten closer together, but we're tackling the tough issues and going out of here with greater faith.
Of course, good news poured in from around the world. The Los Angeles Church had another banner year in 2010. A whopping 764 people were baptized and restored. All the Los Angeles ministries are growing, but we found Bruce to be especially excited about the growing singles ministry in Los Angeles.
We are so excited about all the great things that God is doing here in Los Angeles. We also have a vision of one of our signature ministries being the singles ministry. We see thousands of singles moving here to LA every single year with a dream to entertain the world. It is our dream that they will come to Christ and that their dream will be to change the world.
One standout region is the Metro Los Angeles region in downtown LA. In the last 3 years, they've grown from 550 to over 850 disciples. Last year, 42 campus disciples had 46 baptisms. John Causey fills us in.
It's been really exciting to see the explosion of faith that God has allowed us to have in our region. For instance, we just planted a new downtown sector in our region. The very first couple that we met in a Starbucks was a guy that had decided he would never go back to church again. We invited him to church, and to our surprise, he showed up on a Wednesday night. Right after that, he started studying the Bible. And not only did he get baptized, but his girlfriend got baptized, and shortly after that, they were also married in Christ. You know, that was God allowing our faith to increase, and we've been very excited about that.
Not only in Los Angeles, but the good news poured in from across Central America as well.
The church in Mexico City has had an outstanding year. They baptized some 300 people this past year and experienced one of their best years of growth in many years. And so really thankful for the great work. They have almost 4,000 members there in the church. We have 27 churches throughout the Republic, and this past year was a great turnaround year for our churches there. In particular, they were able to baptize and restore 670 people all over the country, in particular Mexico City. And this is in the shadow of terrible violence throughout the country. I ask you to pray for them. More than 13,000 people have been killed in the last 2 or 3 years. And they really need our prayers. It's a very volatile situation.
In Managua, Nicaragua, the church has been without a full-time leadership couple for years. So the disciples there decided to pray, and they also put an ad up at Disciples Today to help them find a minister. Evangelist Javier Maya fills us in.
Rudy and Mirna Andino replied to our request. What impressed me about this couple is their faith, their heart, and their passion for the lost. At the time, Mirna's pregnant, and part of their decision was that they were not going to be able to come back to the States, but that they would have this baby in Nicaragua. They are now in Nicaragua. The church is thrilled to have them in the leadership, and the church now has 25 studies on their first month of being there.
In 2010 was an incredible time for us in West Africa. We had an incredible growth, and we saw 8 churches planted in our West African sub-region. 4 of those churches planted in Nigeria and 4 outside Nigeria.
I was really inspired by the faith of the sisters, and I'm particularly excited about a sister called Felicia, who is a sister in one of the cities where we actually started a church last year. That's in Yenagoa. She's a student on campus there, and she was the only student on campus there. But she's such a fired up disciple. She's always constantly studying the Bible with women. And just before we had the inaugural service in Yenagoa, she alone evangelized her campus, and she came that day with 3 busloads of students to the inaugural service. Right now we have about 5 sisters who were baptized on that campus.
Finally, we hear about conferences in many places, but we wanted to close out with a word from Reykjavik, Iceland. The Nordic countries held their open heart conference there last month. 60 attended. Iceland is cold in February, but the disciples were fired up. Peter Mahirson explains.
We are right now at the geothermal energy area of Geysir in Iceland. The water is around 80 to 100 degrees hot. And this is circa how we feel after this conference. That's how we want to feel for the future here in Reykjavik.
All said, the meeting in Los Angeles was an excellent time. Our churches are growing, and the committees formed by the Cooperation Plan are working. Leaders are coming together to pray and tackle problems that we all face. Solutions are being found. How good and pleasant it is when brothers work together in unity.